Wassup YouTube, PokePrimer here, primer to deliver you another divisional matchup here in the Dunkin' Knee Deep Subscriber Draft Tournament. This time we are taking on FlaskFlurry and the Arctic Eevees. His team consists of Tapu Koko, Goodra, Cobalion, Gligar, Malamar, Suicune, Shaman, Darmanitan, and Armaldo, and his Z Crystal is the Flyinium Z. So, interesting choice of the Z Crystal with the Flyinium Z. He has a couple mons that have Aerial Ace, with things like Armaldo and whatnot. I believe Suicune and Shaman both get Air Slash, or Suicune gets Air Cutter or something like that, so that's very interesting. Obviously, Tapu Koko with the Flyinium Z Brave Bird. I had Flyinium Z last time around for the Brave Bird on Tapu Koko, which was I thought was a very smart draft on my part, so I think it's a very good idea for him. For the most part, I see it as being kind of useful for his team. Not the best, but I'm not too worried about the Flyinium. I'm just going to have to keep an eye out for it. Darmanitan is hella scary because it does hit very hard. And honestly, our team doesn't really have anything that can really switch into Darm. Like, Darm's a huge threat for us, so we're just going to have to hope that the recoil of its moves kills it faster than anything else. There's that. Malamar's a threat, but we can handle the Malamar. I'm not super worried about that. Going to try to knock off that Gligar's Eviolite at some point, but have to be careful so we don't give the Cobalion a justified boost. And it's going to be an interesting matchup to see how this goes, but I think we can pull out the W here. First mon we're going to be bringing this week is our Mew. We're bringing 96 speed with a Timid Nature so that we can outspeed a base 80 mon, I believe. Or I think whatever max. I think this is actually for max speed Suicune. I don't know why he would bring max speed Coon, but it is a potential bring, so I don't like to take any chances. So with that though, also potentially max speed Gligar. I've seen some weird Gligar sets lately in Draft League, so I'm not taking any chances with that. But we have the Taunt, Toxic, Roost, and Ice Beam. Taunt is very important against a lot of mons on his team because essentially we can shut down some of his potential setup threats really early on. We are very bulky on the physical defense side, so we can handle things like Cobalion and whatnot. We can taunt the Suicune, prevent it from Calm Minding, prevent it from resting after we Toxic it, so that we can Toxic Stall the Suicune with this mon. This is a good stall breaker against his team. We can maybe do the same thing with Gligar if he doesn't bring in Immunity Gligar, which I'd be shocked if he didn't. If he doesn't bring Immunity Gligar, then that is a mistake, in my opinion. But Toxic Stalling some of the mons on his team could be very important. And I think this just overall works really well. The Ice Beam is there for that Gligar. We can easily just tear through that thing with no real issues. I'm not too worried about it. And we're going to really try to Toxic a lot of mons on his team. Outside of Shaman, with potential Aromatherapy, he has no other way of removing status from his team, so that is a big thing to note there. So hopefully that will work in our favor. That is our Mew set. Next up we have Indicut, fully physically defensive Rotom Mow here, with leftovers. Will-O-Wisp, Volt Switch, Signal Beam, and Hidden Power Ice. Will-O-Wisp to burn things like the Gligar. We have a fully physically defensive build to take on the Tapu Koko. If it's a physical variant, we can take plenty of hits. We're going to have to be careful if he goes for the Nature's Madness Flyinium combo that we tried against a Rotom Mow last time, which does work very well. I can't dispute it. It's a very good combination. We have the Signal Beam for the Malamar, so we can tear through that thing pretty easily. Volt Switch will keep up our momentum throughout the matchup. And then, yeah, HPIs for, the Gligar. We discussed this. I think this could work very, very well for us. The only thing that I'm really worried about is still Darmanitan, because Darmanitan obviously still OHKOs this, even though it's fully Phys-Def. Does not matter. We're just going to have to be really, really careful when it comes to that Darmanitan. Speaking of things that don't switch into Darmanitan, we have Choppleberry Kyurem here. Max attack, 120 special attack, and 136 in in speed with a hasty nature, making it so that it really cannot switch in to Darm. Well, why am I Chopple but with defense lowering nature? I have to switch this. So it has to be naive. Why am I defense lowering in this matchup? So I didn't take too much damage from like a Dazzling Gleam from Coco. Doesn't really matter. Toko's still going to do a shit ton of damage to me anyway. Yeah, I think the minus special defense is probably better. And we do need that physical defense as much as we can. We have max physical attack because we have the Dragon Claw, and that is for Goodra. Goodra is an Assault Vest variant of max HP. If it's only max HP, Dragon Claw actually has a good chance with max attack to OHKO the Goodra, which is very, very important. Especially if it takes any damage whatsoever, we can potentially OHKO the Goodra with this Dragon Claw, which is awesome. It could turn out really, really good for us. We have the Signal Beam again for the Malamar. That is kind of the Choppleberry plus Signal Beam is kind of a counter to like a Scarf Malamar set. If it wants to like scarf itself in superpower, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be fast in your Kyurem, huh? Fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. I have the Signal Beam with my Choppleberry, and you can go fuck yourself and die. So there's that. We have Ice Beam obviously for stab, just to hit things like, or just hit the majority of his team, and also just nuke the Gligar entirely, and nuke the Shaman as well. And then we have Flash Cannon as our last move. Flash Cannon I literally threw on here because it can hit the Armaldo, as well as being able to hit the Tapu Koko for a little bit more damage. Ice Beam probably does more than Koko, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to try to stay in on Koko either. So that's the plan there with Vastia. The next Mon we are bringing this week is actually his his first appearance is one of the first appearances. I team built them in order of how the teams are sitting on the document. So this is the first time that I'm using it. It's going to be Teletubby or Audino, Wish, Heal Bell, Thunder Wave, and Return. Wish, Heal Bell, Thunder Wave, and Return. Great moveset, I think so. Wish and Heal Bell to be a cleric for our team. We can pass wishes into the rest of our team to make sure that they are healthy. Heal Bell will be really, really nice to potentially remove any toxics thrown around, any bullshit like that we don't want to deal with. We're fully physically defensive, so we can actually have something that can maybe take a hit from Darmanitan. Maybe a little bit take a hit. I don't know. Kind of take a hit. Sort of take a hit. Not really take a hit, but hey, we can take a hit. Wish, Heal Bell, Thunder Wave, and Return. Thunder Wave is there to potentially paralyze something wanting to switch into this. I could see the Cobalion switching into this, which would be nice to Thunder Wave it. It would be nice to Thunder Wave the Goodra. It would be nice to Thunder Wave the Darmanitan. That would be probably the most beneficial one to Thunder Wave, is the Darmanitan. I would like to do that. And then Return is just for stab. So we have a move to hit things with. It doesn't do a lot because we're not that strong, but it's something. So we're going to go with it. And that is our Teletubby. Next up we have Manbird Pig, the Embor, Expert Belt, Reckless, 88 HP, 4 in defense, Adamant Nature, and 164 into our speed stat. The 164 into the speed allows us to outspeed a min speed Suicune. We have the Flare Blitz, Wild Charge, Toxic, and Superpower. Flare Blitz hurts for the most part everything on the team. Not really too many great switch-ins. The only two switch-ins to the Flare Blitz, because Darmanitan doesn't count, are the Suicune and the Goodra. Suicune, we have the Wild Charge. We can hit that thing with Wild Charges, and it can do some massive, massive damage. It can't be burned, and we can actually take a Scald. If it is not offensive, like if it's an offensive variant, we guarantee to a kill with Wild Charge, and we can still take Scald, which is nice. If he is defensive, then we can still do massive damage with Wild Charge. Toxic is also a good thing to click on his switch-ins, because we can really whittle down things like the Goodra and whatnot with these Toxic. Could be very, very useful, and then we can go for superpowers on things like the Goodra, which could also be something nice to have. Lastly, we're bringing Love Me, the Mimikyu, Swords Dance, Shadow Claw, Play Rough, and Shadow Sneak with the Ghost TMZ. Max attack, we are Jolly Nature 248 into speed, so that we can outpace the Darmanitan. If we can get SD up, this thing pretty much just cleans. Maybe 2 SDs would be nice so that we can break through the Suicune. If it has Roar, that would be annoying, but we'll then know, and then it has to give up a certain move slot for that Roar, so it won't have something else that could be potentially more threatening, so that's fine with me. We can Ghostium on... Ghostium would be very, very nice to have for like the Cobalion, or to use on the Suicune itself to tear through that thing, especially if you're an SD or 2. The Ghostium will do a massive chunk of damage, and could be a good way of breaking through that Suicune. Play Rough will hit majority of things, neutrally or super effectively. On his team, he actually doesn't have a Play Rough resist on his team, which is really good. He has Darmanitan, but that doesn't count. And we have Shadow Sneak, because if it's Scarfed Arm, it's going to be faster than this, obviously. So I want to be able to pick off some of the faster threats with the Shadow Sneak. If we get to +2, that'd be great. And then we can click Shadow Sneak. We can click the Shadow Sneak on a lot of Pokemon and pick them off, and that could be something very, very cool for us to do. So that is our team for this matchup, and let us go ahead and hop into the battle. Let's do it. Alrighty guys, we are here for our third match here in the DKD Deep Subscriber Draft Tournament number 2. This time we were taking on FlaskFlurry and his, what is it, Arctic Eevees or Frozen Eevees or some shit like that. Some kind of name like that. I don't even remember off the top of my head. He is the Arctic Eevees, that's what it is. I knew it was something that had to do with like ice and Eevees and shit. But he's got a scary ass team. He's bringing that Tapu Koko, the Gligar, the Cobalion, the Shaman, the Malamar, and the Darmanitan. Realistically, I realized right at the beginning of this matchup, I just had a very poor matchup against Cobalion. Like, I really didn't have anything besides, like, Mimikyu still with the Disguise up that can actually, like, take a hit from Cobalion if it sets up. And, like, maybe cure him if he goes for a Fighting-type move on me. But that's also only a maybe. Because I'm pretty sure if he gets to +2 with close combat, he can still potentially OHKO me. Even though I think I have the Choppleberry for this one. So, it might be a rough matchup, but we're gonna give it a shot. So we're going to switch sides here, and we're going to see what goes down. He's going to lead with his Gligar, as I actually lead with my Mew. I figured this would probably be his most likely matchup. I'm going to go for the Taunt, as he's going to reveal himself to be SD Gligar. And I'm like, what? Really? SD Gligar is your go-to? So he's just all about doing damage, clearly. So he goes for the U-turn here on my Mew, as I'm just going to stay in here, and I'm going to go for a Toxic. I figured it was a safe play to go for, unless he was Immunity Gligar and brought it back in, which I don't think he would after I revealed the Ice Beam. But I get the Toxic on Tapu Koko, which is nice. He's just going to go straight for a Z-Mirror move, which his Flying Z makes a lot more sense now that I've seen that. He's going to go for Brave Bird. It's going to do a little over half, which is not a big deal, honestly, as I actually predicted him. I didn't predict anything. I made a mistake. I completely forgot that I Toxic'd him, and realistically, I should have gone for a I believe I had Leaf Storm on this set. Yeah, realistically, I should go. No, I didn't have. I should have gone for the Volt Switch there. That was definitely my play. But I did not do that. Obviously, as you see, I did not go for the Volt Switch to get the fuck out of there. Granted, to be fair, at the same time, I didn't exactly have a lot of things to go into that were exactly safe. I could have potentially gone into Audino, but like that's still not even like a good play. That's like a mid-ground to bad play, and I just wasn't. Whatever. That was a misplay on my part. I completely forgot. I just wasn't paying attention. I literally had just got back from spring break. I was trying to crunch out my battles, and I just kind of threw this one out of nowhere. So it's not a big deal, not a huge deal. But you know, it sucked. It sucked a lot for sure. But that was a really crucial misplay. I mean, he still racks up some poison turns, but like the Volt Switch damage would have been really nice. And what really sucked here is I had to kind of sack my Disguise on Mimikyu, because that was also a really dumb play, was sacking the Disguise on Mimikyu there. I did get the Shadow Sneak off, I am able to kill it, but like that was a really shitty play, in all honesty. I don't know why I saved Rotom at this point. Rotom didn't exactly deal with a lot on his team, and I don't know where my head was at in this game, to be honest. I'm looking back on this, and like this just isn't making any sense to me at all. My plays and whatnot. So the Electricity is going to disappear from the field, and he's going to go out to his Cobalion. Obviously, I have to switch because I'm thinking he might go for like a fucking Iron Head and just kill me out. But he gets the Swords Dance up, and he's going to go for the Sacred Sword, and that's going to kill my physically defensive Rotom, and that just shows me where this battle is going to go. So I'm going to go into my Emboar thinking, alright, I can probably live a Sacred Sword or something. He reveals the Zen Headbutt, and I'm like, oh, okay then. This is where our day is going to go. I go out into Mew, and we're going to see that Mew does, in fact, live an Iron Head. We're able to roost off the damage. And, let's go for another Iron Head. We're going to taunt him so he can't set up more. That's about the best I can do to this thing, in all honesty. I dropped the GG in the chat at this point. There was like nothing else I could do. I go out into my Audino, and he's obviously just going to be able to kill me with a combination of Iron Head and Sacred Sword. It was smart that he went for Sacred Sword so he didn't get the defensive drops. I was kind of hoping he would go for a close combat, but he didn't. He goes for the Sacred Sword, and notice that does 98%, so if he was close combat, I would have died there. I go for the Ice Beam with Kyurem, and I actually do get the freeze, which is absolutely insane that I got the freeze right there. I'm going to go out into my Mimikyu, because I can't touch it with Kyurem. I can't touch this thing at all with Kyurem. I'm just going to go for my Z right here, because I have to get this thing down in range of any other move I have. And he's going to stay frozen here, which is convenient for me, and I'm going to miss my first player off, and I'm like, swear to God, if he thaws this next turn, it's GG, and I'm going to just cry. But he stays frozen, and I'm able to hit this player off and drop the Cobalion. But at this point, I'm pretty sure the game's basically over, because he's got this Gligar here, and that's just too big of a pain in the ass to deal with. He's going to Swords Dance now right in front of me. I have to go for the Ice Beam here, as he's obviously going to be able to go out to his Darmanitan, who is actually going to get frozen, which is kind of cool. Realistically, I should have switched into Mew here, because I needed Kyurem alive. Kyurem actually could have cleaned this game up, and now that I think about it, that was a big mistake to not switch, because, well, realistically, it doesn't really matter. Realistically, it don't matter. I also misplayed here as well. I should have gone for a Shadow Sneak. It probably would have done 26%, and then I would have been able to pick up the KO. I think like the overall play was to sack Mew. Yeah, sack Mew, because I did have Signal Beam on my Kyurem. The overall play was to sack Mew to the Darmanitan, go Mimikyu. Mimikyu could have... Let me run the calc against the standard Scarfed Darmanitan. We were just Jolly, just straight up Jolly. Jolly max attack against Darmanitan. Choice Scarfed. Shadow Sneak would have done 23 to 27% if we had sacked Mew and then like gone into Mimikyu, gone for the Shadow Sneak, and then he goes for the Flare Blitz. He would have killed himself. So then we would have had Kyurem over here. We had 120 special attack stat, 120 in our special attack with Ice Beam. Ice Beam and Signal Beam are the only moves we really needed. So that's a thing. We had Ice Beam and Signal Beam, and depending on his sets, if he was like an offensive Shaman, say offensive Shaman, I don't think it would have mattered actually, because his Shaman had taken no damage, so we wouldn't have been able to kill the Shaman anyway. And if it was offensive Shaman, it would have outsped us, so it would have been GG regardless. But at least this makes me feel better that, like, at that point in the match, there was really no play that would have won me it. It was just a matter of trying to squeeze out as much differential as possible, which I did not do. So he's actually going to be able to pick up a 4-0 on me here with this Scarf Darmanitan closing up the game, which really, really sucks. I kind of wanted to go undefeated like I did last year, but I did not. I played this match really poorly. So, yeah, a lot of mistakes in this matchup, but hopefully we will bounce back for our last matchup in our division, and we can bounce ahead into the top 16. So, we're currently seeing 2-1 plus 1 differential. I mean, this matchup basically cancels out our first one against Evenator. So, hopefully we can win our last one and move on to the top 16. Because at this point, it's looking like, besides FlaskFlurry, 2 of the people, like if I lose again, then it all comes down to differential. But 2 of the other people, Evenator and Wilder of the Justice Sovereigns, whom we already faced, they both have suffered 2 losses to this point. So they are down. So the best they can go is 2-2. So if I win against Lane Flurry and the Columbus Blue Flares in our next matchup, we will go 3-1, and that pretty much guarantees us a spot. Unless Lane Flurry is able to like only loses to me and then sweeps everyone else. But I think even still, like, there's a good chance that like we win 1 more and we clinch. So let's hopefully see how this goes. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, I'm PokePrimer, signing off.